TST. It's time for Mike and me. Mike, meme stocks seems like a deja vu from what we had a few years ago. Your initial thoughts on this kind of action? I asked someone today what it meant to them, and because I don't know what it means. He said basically the Fed's not tight enough, and that's why we're getting this kind of speculative type boom in these stocks. What do you think compared to the last time around it did this? It was mainly retail, but I'm hearing institutional guys are part of it this time.
Well, what this means now is that I won't be sleeping a lot in the near future, first of all, because I'm waking up with these moves. But you know what? What it means is there's, maybe a reason for it to rotate out of some bigger money, big cap. The big cap. I'm not reading. I didn't have a chance to read into it yet. I didn't. Quite honestly, I don't care.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, it's our job to try and give people some context
I
behind
understand.
it.
And I'm going to give them price points of where I traded, but why?
Yeah. Okay. Just want to say this is only the first game of the doubleheader. Tomorrow's CPI, I think, is going to be more important than today's PPI. But the action was, was a fade. Dollar tried to rally on it. Now it's trying to close under 105. That's a big deal if we get follow through tomorrow. After the number, they're bringing back, equities got smashed. S&Ps took out 5,200 earlier, and here we are trying to test the recent highs. At NASDAQ actually made a new high, diverging a bit, but made a new high. And Amazon, if it wasn't for the market coming back, is under pretty good pressure in a couple of days. But if the market's going to rally, this should too. And lastly, rates, right? So TLT, not that impressed with the bid it's getting on this, but it's not doing anything wrong yet. It would have to get back under these lows, and the 10-year still holding last week's lows. So tomorrow's an even bigger day for these markets, a dollar in yields. So we'll see what happens. And of course, with the dollar weaker, you're getting nice pop in gold and silver. Gold up 15 here, still way under the high from last week. And silver tried the high of last week, so far putting in kind of a negative candle. So I'm going to turn over the charts to you and tell us what you're doing today. And if there are any option sweeps backing it up, I'm sure there must have been a lot of calls going off in GameStop and AMC over the last few days. Did the wise guys see it coming?
No, they didn't.
They weren't buying calls on this stuff before it happened?
If they were buying, no, they didn't. The answer is no. And it's not that I caught some of it, but I'm just saying them why it's making these moves is because they didn't catch the calls. They're late to them. It's why they're making the move.
Okay.
If they caught the calls, it would have moved already. It would have moved.
Okay. All right. So
as the VIX breaks lower.
Yeah. Still a little bit off last week's lows, but
yeah,
go ahead.
Let me get to my main screen, Coach. And what I'm saying is this. Let me go back to you. And maybe as I go to my trade view, let's go to TradeGATEHub. Hold on. I didn't mean this. I didn't have a chance to know why, Coach. I didn't mean to give you a short answer. It's that I know that I'm going to watch, like your statement, the dollar into the CPI number tomorrow. Now, I know sometimes we joke and back and forth. By the way, nice call on Amazon. Fact, the last post there, it's still negative on the day. Is that, you know what? I'd probably be wrong anyway on my assessment. So I'm looking at my main screen here, and I'm looking at, Obviously, I know that GameStop's up there. AMC, here's all my movers. FCX, even, clear breakout still. Stocks like that, Charles Schwab. We're going back to what we always did. They're taking out some of the best of, leader in respective groups. I understand that Apple's, off the 200. Here's Charles Schwab. That's a daily chart on Charles Schwab. I understand that BABA had earnings and has a hiccup now. Maybe that will repair itself. In the meantime, there's a Citicorp or a lot of stocks. Here's a twist, a stock that's not even a meme stock. It's a hot stock before even the, it's a biotech stock. But that went with with calls.
Bio
Price
was
action.
strong yesterday.
Oh,
Bios yesterday were strong, right?
No question about it.
Yeah.
And I understand that these ancillary moves in a Hertz. Everybody knows it's short, it's a short squeeze now, and it went from 5 to 6. And Plug Power, God forbid.
Yeah, I
Plug
saw
Power
that.
went from 2 to basically triple overnight.
Yeah.
And that's because of news in the calls. But for me,
it's given back almost all of it.
No, what I do like is a stock like SE. This had all calls throughout the first part of the year, had earnings. It's a macro stock, acted well, and for my style, or I would say if I can go as far as say your style, with a stock with a macro move, a good trend, taking calls and volume the whole time, that worked. I mean, that's it. That's an internet stock of, where is it? The Singapore. But it's a heavy. I mean, it's a major stock. Don't get me wrong. Meta. You know what I mean? Meta. Meta. Now it's above the gap. Now people. Now I hear people are buying Meta just for SMCI. Back above storage technologies. Another one of these stocks that powers the AI revolution. This is taking calls. I've been saying this for weeks. Western Digital flagging. So there's always something to do. And that's why the VIX, you see, is at all-time lows. And I can't believe it, because look at the moves I can believe it, but the stocks in Reddit, Children's Place. We all knew that I shorted this one at 38. And I covered it, at 22, went to 7. Now it doubled already. That was predictable, if you will. But Coach, with these things, you got to be all in or all out. You know what I mean? I run a boutique fund, if you will, and I'm looking at what Citicorp is doing in Newmont Mining, and I'm taking I'm looking what Square is doing to position in Square. All right, this was hot. Now they don't even want to touch it until they do. More likely than not, it's going to go up. But there's rotation. Hence again, the VIX. I don't know why it's doing. CLH. They destroyed it into earnings. Now it's breaking on 70 to 90, Coach.
How about the uranium stocks? I noticed they were down hard yesterday. They coming back?
Yeah, but every time the answer is CCJ. I don't see anybody backing up calls, but Jesus Christ, who's left to back up calls? So
I talked about that divergence last Thursday up there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Doesn't look great to me.
No, I don't. And you know what? But every time it doesn't, they go back into it.
Yeah, could be.
I'm not in, this is not one of the, even I'm being hypocritical. Every time it looks good, they go back into it. It looks okay here now. I'm not going to go back into it. Why not? If they do. So why am I not going into it? I don't know. Planeteer acting well, taking calls, by the way, but that's got to get Carvana. Here you go. Carvana's in between this flag up, and you want to short this thing? I'd rather short it here. I mean, this is one move. This is one move from 150.
Yeah.
One move. One good news. DraftKings, still another one that's percolating. They tried to destroy it. Was a winner well before everything even was going on. Tesla's catching calls now. Riven, back from the dead. I don't know if it's because of fundamentals. That you go back to your. I'll disseminate the information later on today, because after almost 30 years, I can look at fundamentals. But here's this chart of Riven.
Well, it looks like it's David Hunter tape.
Yeah,
they're buying everything. Melt up in progress.
Well, is Riven now fundamental? It's above all the it's supposed to moving averages now. It's basing with volume. I don't know, or is it still a squeeze? These are one of the things. And right, by the way, know what you're buying, because if you don't know what you're buying, going to be caught in this thing. And by the way, the losses in these things, when you go away, go the other way. And let me just show you something for whoever's watching. This is a very, I want to say this for anybody that likes these meme stocks and plays this. And this is very important. Bear with me. Dave Portnoy, okay, Barstool guy, okay, had GME. This is what he says last night. Again, he's aware, but still, I have such GME FOMO. But here is what I know. No matter what I do with GME and AMC, and he's long it, I will lose my shirt in the end. That's what you know what I mean? I'm in it. You know, I wish I had a lot of calls. I should have at least $20,000 worth of FOMO calls in GME. God forbid, you know, that's a swing in the daily stock for me, God forbid. But, you know, I don't, and this is what Kramer says. Any CFO who knows what he or she is doing will be so grateful to the memesters they could fix their balance sheet. He's calling for everybody to go through.
Go back down. Go back down a couple. Look at bar charts featuring wheat. Talked about it the last couple of weeks before it was here.
And you know what? This is what I'm going to do. At Forex Hunter, had the call early. And you did. Great call, coach. And anybody that wants to know about the call on wheat, who doesn't really regularly watch, just has to go right here. Let me show my screen. Because it was a great call. It goes to our red YouTube icon, and not only get an idea of what we do with almost our 5,000 subscribers over. Coach called this week. Go back, David Hunter. 5 days ago, 7,000 views. 600 views for Coach a day ago. But you know what? You can also go back and click and go by our history and our most watched, all our guest speakers, our most viewed. And you can watch Coach's dissertation about wheat, which has been spot on. That's why it caught my eye. Good call, Coach. Okay. I digress. Thanks, what do we do here? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm aware. Short term, it's 11:30 lunchtime. I don't know if things are going to go slow down for short term. Medium term, I'm going to go through what we post on TGH, upgrades, downgrades, earnings coming out. Of course, watching the dollar into CPI. That's my short term plan.
Yep. All right. So it's like daily doubles. You've bet them before, right? And the first race, maybe you got him. The second race is whether or not it's, going to be that ticket is going to be torn up or cashed out. So tomorrow's the second part of the daily double.
Yeah, let me say something. I learned this from important professional gamblers early on. You know my affinity for the racetrack. When I was betting, whatever I was doing relative, a college sports gambler, our boss would know about this story. I would bet like 3 or 4 games, you know what I mean? Teasers or with parlays. And he'd said to me, he says, he looked at his house, brought me over, took me under his wing, his house, forget about it. He says, you have to win 4 bets in order to cash 1 ticket. So remember that. That's why I always bet daily doubles to a degree. They don't pay as much, but when you have decent amount of, I don't want to say leverage because I'm all in cash or buying power, you only have to cash a daily double with this type of market. With that being said, here's the Jesus feed, Goldman Sachs short basket, GME, Carvana, Wayfair, Twist brought it up. Let me just say this and just paraphrase what Jesus said, and I'll leave it here because he could probably do it better than us. No disrespect to us. And it's going to be right here because he's fast and furious. Right here. There's a ton of spec buying all over the yard again today in short dated names. Granted, most of it is really cheap, but no shortage of names with bullish momentum. There's something to do. I feel at this point, this is just an important, if not more than flowing. Okay, so put calls, everybody shorting them. Planeteer, like I said, is a little bit of bullish. I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Yeah, it's a strange tape. But I would say that, definitely speculation is back when, they start running these and doubling and tripling and quadrupling, definitely exploiting. It doesn't take as much volume to move these either, does it?
No, it doesn't. And by the way, when it does, because they're low, everybody
low
just hops
floaters.
on, Coach. I get it. And this is another thing that I wanted to point about. And I thought about this morning, and it goes from one of the young people one guys I follow, very few. And bear with me because it's one of the most, it put me in my place, if you will. And I think it would help you too, coach, and anybody else that's a little bit more experienced. So it's worth my time. Where is he? Come on. Where is he? I think I liked it. My eyes aren't as fast as they were before. What a shame.
This guy? Yeah, young guy.
There's you. Don't confuse a rally or uptrending with an easy dollar environment. Right here. Please hang with me. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few.
Yeah.
I have to think the former because that's why stocks are doing what they do. I'm experienced enough for my entry points. I'm experienced enough to understand, maybe build a macro picture into like the CPI, macro meaning tomorrow. But you have to think simpler. You know what I mean? Price action, flow, volume. Yeah, I know I didn't catch 100% in GME. I could still catch another 10% on, smaller size. It's not over just because I didn't catch the meat of it. So that kind of put me in my place in the beginner's mind. There are many possibilities. And that's why if you look at the board, I'm not going to be pessimistic.
That's because the experts are jaded because they've had their heads handed to them a few times in their career. So they're more cautious because they have a different paradigm called experience, which at times breeds fear and overcautiousness.
Well, that's why a person of putting my ego aside in this type of environment, I had to remind myself that in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. And quite honestly, when I was younger, in the younger days, I'd be giggling. I'd be buying everything. But I'd put buy stop. I'd have a list of new highs. Then I'd put buy stop, new high. And then my, stocks that making new highs would break high. Maybe I'd get a good fill in that. I'd be a little bit sharper than I am now. And they just keep taking them up. And that would be simpler for me. But,
Okay.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah. All right. It's just,
Well, but by the way, this is what Ted said before this. He's not the judge and the jury, and this was yesterday. S&P big stalling day with elevated volume without any progress. They
right.
thought that was distribution instead of
Right.
accumulation. Dead wrong there. So what are you going to do? It's an opinion.
Yeah, we could be wrong every day and right every day.
Absolutely.
It's how you manage your risk. So that's really the key. So we'll see what happens tomorrow on the daily double. I think it's a more important number. We'll see. But definitely you have to respect today's action, the way they brought it back, and what the dollar is doing so far. If we start closing Dixie under 105 for a couple days, should be pretty bullish for everything. Dollar's bad, everything's good. Dollar's good, normally everything's bad. So important week for the dollar here.
This is what it is, an important week. And for those that don't have a live account, get yourself a demo account. This is when you learn. What is the cliche, coach? An expert sailor never learned to sail in calm waters. You have a couple of expert sailors and you have one of the best boats available, meaning TradeGATEHub and TradeView markets, lowest spreads, tightest commissions, award-winning services, a free service. Get in there. This is when you learn. Okay. And so we're here to guide you through it, long, short. Our videos will give you an idea of what we're about, and being in the room will let you know what we're doing going forward.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. You can't learn experience. It only happens with the passing of time. So get going so that you start putting screen time hours under your belt, because that's what it's going to take.
I mean, coach, we make a decent living. Don't you make enough as some doctors? Be honest. Yeah. Okay. And they went to school for 15, 20 years. So did we. So, I mean, it pays off.
Different school. Yeah.
Well, it is a different school. It's arguable, but I mean, I should. That's what we do, and we hope you get there too. That's what.
Yeah. So anyway,
doesn't happen overnight.
Anyway, I'm not going. Yeah, we'll see what happens here, Mike, the rest of the day, and think the day might be kind of set in stone for the rest of the day, and we'll see what kind of follow through we get tomorrow. But once I started seeing these memes go, I sure thought about David Hunter and the melt up and it turning into a spec market again.
Right.
So
And that's even, a lot of fun. Listen, there's the last thing you're going to worry about in this room is something to do. What
Yeah,
is
that's for
important
sure.
is that you know about your fundamentals in the speculative market and know what's going on. That's all. Know your style, okay? The last thing that you're going to be worried about in this room is a lack of an idea or what to trade in an industry. Period.
That's for sure. I mean,
So,
Mike provides so many ideas. Me, not as many, but every day Mike is active. Okay, active. Very rarely that he's sitting on his hands. So nice broadcast today, buddy.
well, thanks, Coach. It started with your segue and momentum, and obviously the passion for us both shines through. We have no script, and you
Yeah,
always cut me. I could keep talking forever, except the team cuts us off. So
yeah.
until next time, it's an honor. We'll try to I'll try to do better the next time, and we'll try to leave off where we left off.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you, everyone.
Great working with you, buddy. I've learned a lot from you.
Touche, Coach. Touche.
All
Cheers,
right.
everyone. Thanks for being in the room.
Yeah, everyone. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Come in the room and you know, prove us wrong from what we said today. Tell me you're bored after watching all the ideas flow through there. And that's it. Adios. Good hunting. We'll both see you tomorrow.
Okay, cheers, everyone. Thanks for the team behind the scenes.
Thank you, team.
Have a good day, Coach. Trade well.
You too, Mike.